This young man became unexpectedly rich and was carried away by the riches that he abandoned his own sick mother, who sacrificed everything. Even when his mother was at the point of death, he showed no concern. He didn't care. He was only living his best life. What could a mother had possibly done to deserve this type of ill treatment? No mother deserves such a son. Let's go through this amazing story. And please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on your notifications for more amazing stories. In a tiny compound where weeds had overtaken the fence, a frail woman coughed as she stirred watery pap over firewood. Her name was Mama Ifeoma, a widow whose bones had grown thin from sacrifice. Her legs trembled with every step. Her hands were blistered from washing other people's clothes. But her eyes were sharp, burning with the stubborn hope that one day her son would change their story. Inside the single-room hut, David, her firstborn, was bent over a wooden desk. Really just two broken stools pushed together. He was 17. His khaki shorts had been sewn and resewn at least 5 times. His sandals had holes in them, and his exercise books were second-hand, covered in faint pencil erasures. But his mind, sharp like a razor, brilliant like lightning before a storm. "Mama," David said, still reading by the dim light from the window. "They say only 5 people in the state will win that scholarship." Mama Ifeoma smiled weakly, setting the bowl of pap beside him. Her breathing was heavy. The dry season had worsened her cough. "You will be one of them," she whispered. "You're not like the others. You were born for more." David looked up. "But the school fees, the form. We don't have money." She nodded slowly. "I'll find a way." That night, when David slept, Mama Ifeoma crept out and sewed her last wrapper, the one her late husband had bought her during their wedding. She walked barefoot under the moonlight to the house of a local tailor, traded the cloth for half the price, then returned home, coughing blood into her palm. But she smiled, because David would go to school, and he did. 4 years later, David aced every exam. The scholarship came through. He got into university. Mama borrowed money to buy him a second-hand phone. Ada, his little sister, cried when he left for the city. He promised to call every weekend, to send something small, to never forget them. And at first, he didn't. He sent money. He called. But then something changed. Lagos. Lagos was wild, fast, and intoxicating. David's brilliance stood out. He created a mobile app that gained attention. Investors came. Tech people praised him. In 3 years, he launched his own company. His name was featured in Tech Niger magazine. He drove a black Range Rover. He moved into a 3-story mansion in Lekki with automatic gates and a swimming pool. He met Monica, a light-skinned beauty who wore human hair that cost more than his mother's entire monthly income. She loved taking selfies, wore designer perfumes, and hated village talk. One day, while on a yacht with Monica and her friends, David received a call from Ada. He stared at the screen, then muted it. "I don't like that your village people are always calling you," Monica said, sipping wine. "It's draining. You're in a new world now, baby." And David, in that moment, nodded. He silenced the phone. And that silence would echo for years. Back in Umweze, Mama Ifeoma's cough returned with vengeance. She grew weaker. Her ribs jutted out like sticks under her skin. At night, she pressed her palm against her chest to stop the burning. She waited for David's calls. Days passed, then weeks. Her eyes lingered on the gate every evening, as if expecting a black jeep to roll in with a horn and a smile. Nothing. "Maybe the network is bad," she would tell Ada. But Ada knew. He wasn't coming. One day, David sent a parcel. Inside was a box of snacks and a photo of himself standing beside Monica in front of a luxury car. On the back, he'd written, "Meet Monica, my world. No money, no medicine, no note to ask how Mama was doing. Just Monica, with bleached skin, sharp nails, and lips that smiled with no care for the woman whose womb gave David life." Mama Ifoma held the picture. Her fingers trembled. "This is my replacement," she whispered. Her eyes filled with tears, but she didn't weep for herself. She wept for a son lost to gold. That night, thunder rolled in the sky. Rain fell hard on the zinc roof of their hut, leaking through holes and soaking the mat where Mama lay coughing. Ada wrapped her in a thin blanket and whispered, "We'll be fine, Mama. David will remember us. One day." But deep down, she wasn't sure. In the city, David posted an Instagram story with Monica, captioned, "Peace of mind is being around people who don't stress you." Meanwhile, in the village, his mother coughed blood into a bowl she had used to feed him as a child. Mama Ifeoma, looking up at the cracked ceiling, her eyes red, her lips trembling. "David, my son, what have I done to deserve this?" The dry season returned like a curse. Cracks spread across the red earth like broken promises, and dust clung to every surface in Umweze. Mama Ifeoma was no longer walking. The illness had eaten away at her strength. Her once vibrant voice, the one that used to sing lullabies to David under the baobab tree, was now reduced to wheezes and whispers. Her bones ached. Her appetite had died. Even Ada's cheerful voice couldn't revive her anymore. "Mama, you need to eat," Ada said one morning, kneeling beside her with a plate of cold rice. Mama Ifoma turned her face slowly, her lips dry, her voice barely audible. "Give it to the goats, my daughter. My stomach has forgotten what joy tastes like." Tears welled up in Ada's eyes. She was only 16, but her back had already learned the pain of womanhood. She hawked in the market daily, groundnuts in the morning, zobo in the evening, just to afford malaria drugs, papi, and the occasional recharge card to message David. Every night, Ada sat on the steps of their hut, staring into her phone, watching the ticks beside her WhatsApp messages turn blue. "David, Mama is dying. Please help us. Even N5000 will buy her drugs. Please pick your call. Please." But David never replied. Not once. On market evening, Ada overheard that David had just bought a new car, a Mercedes G-Wagon, black and shining like spilled oil. The news hit her like a stone. Her hands shook. Her eyes blinked rapidly, disbelieving. "Mama, I'm going to Lagos," she said that night. "I don't care how. I'll take you to him. Even if he's forgotten us, I'll remind him." The journey took 2 days. They borrowed a wheelchair from the community clinic. A neighbor lent them transport money. Mama Ifoma was bundled into an old minibus, wrapped in 2 faded wrappers. Her body was so weak, Ada had to lift her onto the seat like a baby. In Lagos, the city air smelled of smoke, fuel, and indifference. Skyscrapers towered over them like monuments to a world they didn't belong to. Ada had only one address, saved from years ago. The one David had used to send that picture with Monica. As the taxi turned into Lekki Phase 1, Mama gasped weakly. "This place is like a dream," she whispered. Ada didn't reply. Her heart beat like a drum against her chest. The gates of the compound stood like golden walls of a palace. Flowers lined the path. A uniformed security guard sat inside a glass booth. She approached, pushing her mother in the wheelchair. "Good afternoon, sir. Please, we're looking for David." We are his family. The guard squinted. You be who? I'm his sister. This is our mother. Please, tell him Ada and Mama are here. It's urgent. Please. The guard stepped inside the gatehouse and dialed a number. He came out after 2 minutes. Madam, Oga say make una go. Him no get money now. Ada's heart cracked. What? No. He must not have heard you well. Tell him Mama is sick. Please. The guard hesitated, then added, Oga say make I tell you, say the little money where he get, he don't already plan am. He get important person where he dey take care of now. From inside the compound, faint music played, Afrobeat and laughter. Through the fence, Ada saw Monica taking selfies by the pool in a bikini. David walked by with a drink in hand, laughing as if the world owed him nothing. Ada ran to the gate and began to pound on it. David, it's me, your sister. Mama is here. Open the gate. Please. No response. Mama Ifoma slumped forward in the wheelchair, tears running down her cheeks, her hands trembling as she clutched the gate with her fingers. I breastfed you. I raised you. David. The gate never opened. That night, under the streetlight, Mama and Ada slept by the roadside, beside a gate taller than their dreams, colder than the sun it guarded, a night in the shadows. Mosquitoes bit through their wrappers. Mama's breathing grew shallower. A kind passerby gave them bread and water. Ada didn't sleep. She just stared at the house beyond the gate. She imagined knocking again. She imagined David seeing her and rushing out, tears in his eyes, ashamed and sorry. But morning came, and with it, silence. The mansion doors never opened. At dawn, a cleaner hosed down the compound and ignored them. A car drove out, splashing water near their feet. David never looked. The journey back. They left the next day. Back on the bus, Mama's head leaned against Ada's shoulder. Her voice was faint. He has chosen another woman. She has won his heart. No, Mama. He's just busy. He's overwhelmed. He'll come around. Mama smiled weakly. My daughter, when a heart forgets its home, it forgets its name. Ada bit her lip to hold back the scream rising in her throat. She wanted to curse, to cry, to run, but she held her mother. She held her like the world was falling apart, because it was. Back in Lekki, David sat on his couch, laughing at a meme Monica showed him on her phone. Your sister's messages are so emotional, Monica chuckled, scrolling through Ada's unread texts. It's like a Nollywood movie. David smirked. I told you, I don't do drama. They clinked their wine glasses. In the background, his WhatsApp had a message Ada sent just an hour earlier. We're going back to the village. Mama said goodbye. But David didn't open it. He was too busy planning Monica's birthday dinner. As the sun set over Lekki, in a house filled with laughter and lies, a mother's final hope was left starving at his gate, and he didn't even know it. The journey back to Umweze was more painful than the first. The road felt longer. The silence between Ada and her mother louder. Inside the bus, passengers chatted and laughed. The driver played loud Fuji music. But in the corner seat near the window, Mama Ifoma's head rested limply against Ada's shoulder, her breath shallow, her fingers cold. She hadn't spoken since they left Lagos. Her soul was still at the gate, the golden gate of the son she birthed, the gate that did not open. Ada wrapped her arms tightly around her mother. Her lips quivered, but she refused to cry. Not here. Not yet. When they reached the village, the neighbors rushed out, shocked by Mama's frail condition. She went to see her son in the city, Ada explained, voice shaking. But he didn't answer. An old woman shook her head. That boy has brought shame upon himself. Mama was laid gently on a mat outside their hut. She opened her eyes once, looked at the cracked ceiling, and whispered, "Is this the same sky above his house?" "Yes, Mama," Ada said softly. She smiled weakly. Then let the same sky judge him. The final days. The next few days moved like a funeral, waiting for its corpse. Mama Ifoma refused food. She couldn't speak more than a few words. When Ada tried to feed her pap, she would simply press her lips closed, her eyes staring into space, as if trying to forget this world before it forgot her. She no longer spoke David's name. She no longer asked about him. Ada spent her days by her side, fanning away flies, reading old prayer books aloud, and massaging her mother's legs with shea butter. At night, when the frogs croaked and lanterns dimmed, Ada would sit under the ancient baobab tree near their hut, the same tree where Mama used to sit and tell stories when David was a little boy. One night, she wheeled Mama there, wrapping her in 2 thick wrappers. The sky was full of stars. Crickets sang in the grass. The village was quiet, as though holding its breath. "Mama," Ada whispered, "do you remember when you used to tell David about the tortoise and the lion?" Mama's eyes fluttered. She nodded. "He used to laugh," Ada said, forcing a smile through her tears. "He'd clap his hands and say, 'One day I'll be richer than the lion.'" Mama closed her eyes. "And he is," she murmured, "but lions do not forget their mothers." Silence. Then her voice deepened, cracked, and heavy with pain. "I gave him everything. My womb, my breasts, my bones. When others mocked us, I said, 'My son will lift me.' But he has become a stranger." Her eyes burned. "I sat at his gate like a beggar. He fed strangers and let his own mother starve. What child abandons the hands that raised him?" Ada tried to hold her, but Mama was shaking. I cried until my tears dried. I called until my voice died. Now, let the heavens speak. She looked up at the stars. "Fanny," she cried. David's birth name. Her voice rang through the night. "If I ever carried you in truth, if my back bent for you, if I bled to make you live, then let the soil hear me." Ada gasped. "Mama, no." But Mama was already weeping, her hands trembling, her voice echoing with power. "May you never hear the cry of your own child, just as you turned deaf to mine. May the seed of joy never grow in your house, just as you let mine rot in sorrow. May your riches bring you loneliness. May your house be full, but your heart empty. Let your name be loud, but your future silent." Silence followed. Even the crickets stopped. Then a gust of wind blew through the baobab tree, bending its branches as if nature itself was listening. Mama collapsed into Ada's arms, exhausted. "Mama," Ada cried, "please don't say those words. He's still your son." Mama opened her eyes, softening. "I didn't curse him out of hate, my daughter. I cursed him out of love. The kind of love that turns to pain when ignored." Her head rested on Ada's shoulder again. "Promise me, Ada." "Yes, Mama. Anything. Promise me you won't forget me like he did. And when he returns, and he will, remind him who he was. Remind him who I was. I promise." Mama closed her eyes. That night, her breath slowed and never returned. The morning after, at dawn, the rooster crowed. But Mama Ifoma did not rise. The village gathered. Women wailed, men bowed their heads. David did not come. He did not call. He did not send a kobo. They buried her under the baobab tree, her favorite spot, the same place where she had once told stories. the same place she uttered the curse. On her grave, Ada placed the photo David had sent years ago, the one with Monica. She placed it face down. That night, Ada sat alone by the fresh grave, the moonlight casting shadows over the mound of red earth. She looked up at the stars, just like her mother had, and whispered, "He will remember you one day, Mama, but it will be too late." The winds of time moved fast. 3 years passed since Mama Ifeoma's bones were lowered beneath the old baobab tree, and not once did David return to Umweze. Not once did he ask about her grave. Not once did he ask about Ada. But his name echoed through Lagos like gospel. David Ifeanyi Nwoke, the tech genius, the real estate mogul, the man who turned dust into gold. His company, Ifeanyi Technologies, was featured on CNBC Africa. He wore three-piece suits tailored in Italy. He sat on conference panels and gave motivational speeches about grit and vision and focus, yet never mentioned the woman who birthed his ambition through pain. Now, he was preparing for the biggest day of his life, his wedding to Monica. Preparations of vanity. The wedding was the talk of the city. Invitations were custom engraved with 24-karat gold lettering. The venue was the Ocean Pearl Resort, a private island accessible only by yacht. Makeup artists were flown in from South Africa. Monica's wedding dress, designed in Paris, arrived with 2 armed bodyguards. Every vendor whispered the same thing. This man has money. Real money. David spared no cost. A single rose for Monica's bouquet cost more than his mother's monthly food budget when she was alive. The wedding cake was 7 tiers tall, covered in edible diamonds. And still, in all the noise and sparkle, no one mentioned his family. Ada watches from afar. In Umweze, Ada sat under the baobab tree, clutching her old Itel phone. The wedding trended across every social media platform. Pictures of Monica and David smiling beneath a floral arch flooded the screen. A friend from the city had sent her the live stream link. As she watched David kiss Monica in front of hundreds of guests, her hands trembled. The screen blurred with her tears. "Mama," she whispered toward the grave beside her, "your son has married, but you were not even allowed to eat from his table." The old women in the village hissed as they passed. One day, his pride will break. The omen at the wedding. Back on the island, as the wedding reception roared with music and clinking glasses, a small incident occurred. One that many dismissed, but a few noticed. Just as David raised his champagne glass for a toast, a wild bird, a black crow, flew down from the open ceiling beams and perched on the edge of the cake. It cawed 3 times, then knocked a rose off the cake and flew away. The crowd laughed nervously, but Monica shivered. David frowned. "It's just a bird," he muttered. But the old priest, who had been invited for traditional blessings, said nothing. He only stared at David with a long, heavy look. Later that night, he quietly packed his things and left the island. First signs of the curse. The honeymoon in Seychelles was everything Monica had imagined. 5-star spa treatments, moonlit dinners, drone cameras, capturing every kiss. But when they returned home, things changed. David's phone rang constantly. Doctors, specialists, test results. After a full year of marriage, Monica still wasn't pregnant. "I think we should see a fertility expert," she suggested one night, her voice quiet. David scoffed. "There's no rush. We're still young." But inside, something twisted in his gut. They tried again and again. Every month, disappointment. The tests came back. Monica was healthy, ovulating regularly, uterus normal. David sat in the doctor's office, gripping the edge of the chair as the specialist read the results. Your sperm count is extremely low, the doctor said. Almost non-existent. David blinked. What does that mean? The doctor removed his glasses. It means, medically speaking, the chances of you fathering a child are nearly impossible. Denial and anger. David tore up the report. It's a lie. A mistake. We'll see another doctor. He booked appointments across the country. Cape Town, Abuja, Dubai, India. Same diagnosis. Same response. Medically, sir, you are sterile. His world began to tilt. He screamed at Monica. You cursed me. You gave me bad luck. Monica wept. I have done nothing but love you. I left everything for you. He drank more. He partied harder, but the emptiness inside him grew. Hollow, dark, endless. Dramatic climax. One night, alone in his multi-million naira mansion, David stumbled into the guest room, the one he had planned to convert into a nursery. He opened the tiny wardrobe, filled with baby clothes he had bought out of hope. A small onesie fell to the floor. On it were the words, Daddy's little lion. His knees buckled, and for the first time since his mother died, David broke. He fell to the floor, sobbing. Not the quiet sobs of regret, but the loud, heaving wails of a man realizing he cannot buy back what he threw away. Outside, the wind howled. The same wind that once passed through a village gate where his mother had waited, starving, coughing, dying. Now, it passed through him, cold, unforgiving, empty. The days blurred into nights. David stopped attending board meetings. He no longer updated his social media. His mansion, once filled with music and luxury, now echoed with silence. Monica tried everything. Therapy, counseling, even fertility retreats. But David was slipping into something darker. A shadow of himself. One night, he stared at the mirror for a long time. His eyes were bloodshot. His face was aged beyond his years. And for the first time, he whispered a name he hadn't spoken in nearly a decade. Mama. David began visiting churches, small shrines, mosques, temples. He paid spiritualists, fasted for weeks, and slept in holy camps. Everyone told him the same thing in different ways. You offended blood. Your womb is closed by sorrow. A voice cries from the earth. Your own blood curses you. One evening, desperate and trembling, David found himself deep in Anambra, in the mud compound of an old seer named Nze Ebuka. The man sat under a mango tree, blind in one eye, with kola nuts on a wooden plate before him. He said nothing when David arrived. He only stared. David fell to his knees. Please, tell me the truth. Why can't I have a child? Why is my life like this? What is chasing me? Nze Ebuka picked up a kola nut and broke it. Then he looked up slowly and said, Your mother. David's breath caught. She's dead, he whispered. Not to the earth, the old man replied. Not to the spirits, not to her tears. He leaned forward. You are a tree that cut off its roots, and now wonders why it bears no fruit. David sobbed. I didn't know. I was young. I didn't mean it. She sat at your gate, my son, Nze Ebuka said, his voice low and heavy. She begged at your feet. You denied her food. You gave your heart to one who fed your pride and let the hands that raised you starve. He pointed to the sky. You must return. To her. To the place where her soul rests. Not with gifts. Not with money. With your knees and your tears. The next morning, David dressed in plain clothes and set out for Umweze, a village he had not visited in 10 years. He didn't go with his Range Rover. He took public transport. His face was hidden behind a cap. People barely recognized the once famous mogul. He arrived just as the sun began to set. The air smelled of dust and old memories. Children played near the old well. An old man sat by the roadside and watched him approach. David walked slowly through the familiar paths until he reached it, the baobab tree, and beneath it, a small, humble grave. It was covered in weeds, cracked, unmarked, except for a stone one Ada had placed there years ago with the words scratched in charcoal. Here lies Mama Ifoma, a woman the world forgot, but God did not. David fell to his knees. His chest heaved. He pressed his head to the soil and cried in a way he had never cried before. Not the cries of a rich man, the cries of a son. Mama, I'm sorry. I was blind. I let you die outside my gate. I chose pride over you. Please forgive me. His tears soaked the earth, and as the wind blew softly through the branches of the baobab, he thought, for just a moment, that he heard her voice. My son. He looked up, but there was no one there, only silence and shame. He turned and saw her, Ada, standing at a distance, arms folded, her face unreadable. She had grown, older, stronger. Her eyes, once filled with hope, now held quiet fire. Ada, he whispered. She didn't move. I came to make it right. She walked forward slowly, then slapped him. Tears filled her eyes. She begged for you, David. Every night, even with blood in her mouth, she said, my son will come. She died waiting. Do you understand that? I know, David sobbed. I hated myself every day since. Ada looked away, trembling. Ada looked away, trembling. She cursed you, David, with love, with pain. She cursed you with the same mouth that called you her lion. And now, the world has heard her. David fell to the ground again. Tell her, wherever she is, I would give all my riches to feed her one bowl of pap again. I would wash her feet. I would burn everything I own, just to hear her say my name one more time. Ada's face softened. But you can't, she said. That's the price. You were so wicked to the woman who gave you everything that you let her die. Please go away. Go with your wealth and riches. I don't need them. My mother is gone. If you can't bring her back, then we don't need your wealth. Dead people don't eat. And with that, Ada walked away. David was buried in shame. He knew that if his own living sister couldn't forgive him, his dead mother would not either. So therefore, he has to pay the price for his terrible deeds.